A long, long time ago, in a land that is now called Germany, there lived two brothers. The older brother was cunning and greedy. He made himself very rich. The younger brother was an honest and generous farmer. Although he worked very hard in his fields, he was always poor. One day, the younger brother went to inspect his crop of turnips. There, growing in a row of ordinary sized turnips, he found an enormous turnip. Every day he inspected the turnip, and every day it grew a little bigger. It grew into a turnip larger than anyone had ever seen before. The farmer asked all the people in his village to help him harvest the turnip. Finally, after a lot of effort, they managed to pull it out of the ground. "It's huge," they said. "It's amazing," they exclaimed. "What will we do with it?" they asked. All the while, the rich brother looked on and never said a word. An idea came into the younger brother's head. "The turnip is too magnificent for us to eat, but it is a gift fit for a king," he said. The villagers helped him load the giant turnip onto his cart, and he set out for the king's palace. All along the way, people stared in wonder at the sight of the splendid turnip. The king and all his court turned out to receive the giant turnip. They inspected it, they measured it, they tested it, and they tested it. It was without doubt the most amazing gift the king had ever been given. The king was so pleased that he had a portrait painted of his daughter and the princess, the farmer, and himself with the turnip. "What can I give you to thank you of your magnificent gift?" the king asked the younger brother. "Thank you, Your Majesty," he replied, "but there's nothing I want in return for my gift." "Well," said the king, "you are truly as kind-hearted and generous as people say you are. I know you lead an honest but poor life, while your cunning brother is wealthy and mean. I will reward you with as many riches as your brother already has." The farmer rode back to his village. This time, his cart was loaded with more riches than he had ever dreamed of. The people waved happily as the honest younger brother went past. They were pleased that he was now as wealthy as his cunning brother. "Come to my house later to share my good fortune," he said to them. As soon as he returned to his humble home, the villagers gathered to celebrate. They ate and drank their fill and marveled at the gift from the king. They ate and drank their fill and marveled at the gifts from the king. The older brother came by. "What's all this?" he asked. The younger brother told him what had happened and invited him to join the party. The villagers celebrated late into the night, but the greedy brother could not bear to join them. He was jealous of his brother's good fortune. All he could think about was how to get a similar reward from the king. After a while, he came up with a cunning plan. Next day, the older brother loaded all his wealth onto his horse and his carriage and set out for the palace. "If I give the king as many riches as my brother received, the king will certainly reward me with even more wealth," he said unto himself. "Your Majesty," said the cunning brother, "I wish to honor you with all my riches. Please accept them from your most humble servant." "Thank you so much," said the king, "but what should I give you in return?" Let's see. I think I should give you something truly rare and amazing. The king ordered his servants to bring the gift he had decided upon, but when the cunning brother saw it, he gasped and nearly fell over backward. It was the roundest, largest, whitest turnip ever known. It was the turnip his brother had grown. All the villagers and the honest brother came to admire the king's clever gift. "Oh, what have I done?" said the older brother as he hung his head in shame. "My cunning and greed have cost me all my riches, and I don't have a friend in the world. Now I am even poorer than my brother ever was. Do you think anyone took pity on him?" The first lesson from the story: the value of friendship. In the story, the younger brother works hard in his fields to make an honest living. He is generous with the little wealth that he has, and his good nature has earned him the respect and valuable friendship of his fellow villagers. Although he is not rich like his older brother, he considers himself wealthy in having good friends whom he can count on in times of need. In a similar way, he should always remember to value our friendships, no matter. In a similar way, we should always remember to value our friendships, no matter how much or little money we have. What's the story tell us? Secondly, being greedy gains nothing. Some people are very rich, but they do not know how to share their wealth with others. They may become selfish and greedy, and this can lead to their downfall. The older brother in the story is always trying to think of ways to become even richer, and because of this is all he cares about. He has no friends. He becomes jealous of his brother's good fortunes and plots a way to acquire even more wealth. In the end, his greed causes him to lose everything he had, and he realizes how alone and unhappy he is. What the story tells us, the third lesson: not expecting reward. When we decide to give someone a gift, we should do so because we want to and not because we think we will get something in return. We should remember that it is the sincerity of a gift that is important, not the cost or the size of it. In the story, the younger brother decides to give the prized giant turnip to the king because it is rare and unusual. He doesn't expect anything in return. Even though he is very poor, the king is grateful for the turnip, but he appreciates the farmer's generosity and thoughtfulness even more than the gift itself. However, when the older brother gives his gift to the king, he does so in the hope of gaining more wealth and riches in return. The wise king sees through the older brother's cunning plot and gives him the turnip in order to teach him a lesson. What's the story tells us? The fourth lesson: sharing our good fortune with others. Being fortunate makes us happy, and we feel even happier with share our good fortune with our friends. In the story, the farmer is delighted with his good luck. He immediately invites all his friends in the village to celebrate with him, and as a result, he appreciates his good fortune all even more. What's the story tell us? The last lesson, the fifth lesson we learn from this story: being happy for others. When our friends or family are particularly fortunate, we should feel happy for them and not to be jealous or spoil their happiness. When the younger brother receives riches from the king, his older brother cannot bring himself to be glad for him, but can only suffer feelings of jealousy and dissatisfaction. If he had been able to share his brother's happiness, he would have been sharing his good fortune too. The end.